Hour number 2 underway, Thursday, August 28th, right here on Jox. Week 1 of the college football season kicks off at 4:30 today on ESPN. 4:30, Boise at South Florida.
How much do you love the 4:30 kickoff? Like, why don't we do this more often? I mean, so many people now, and it's maybe not going to be great for viewership, but a lot of people, like on Friday, if you were to stack double headers at 4:30 and 8 on Friday, I really think you'd get tremendous numbers for both. I mean, so many people are taking off at like 4 o'clock. I get on Highway 280 at 3 o'clock, and it's like gridlock because everyone's done with work. I feel like the work calendar has moved up. Like if we had more 4 o'clock games, we'd be cooking.
I would be for it. I would love it, and I wish we could get more of it. But obviously, not only that one, but you get Central Arkansas at Missouri tonight. 2 quarterbacks going to play for Eli Drinkwitz. You'll get Jacksonville State at Central Florida, 6 o'clock on E+. And then you can attend Alabama State at UAB here in Birmingham, 7:30 on ESPN Plus down at Protective. And then on the campus of Sanford, West Georgia is at Sanford at 6:30 on E+ as well. Damian Mitchell will be on the call for that one. So it's beautiful. It's here. It starts at 4:30, and it goes all evening. And you can listen to us all day on Jox. It's easy. Just go get the Jox app in the App Store, iPhone, Android, download that for free. It'll direct you to the YouTube. You can go get the podcast of the interviews, of the entire show, of hours of the show. And if you can't listen that way, watch live on YouTube, search Jox945. Watch the show back throughout the day as well. We appreciate all you guys in the chat and tuning in that way. Numbers been going up there, so we're very appreciative. And you can also just walk around your house and tell Alexa to play the Jox skill, and you can tune into us that way.
Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC Dealer of the Year. Today we kick off the national championship race in college football. Well, that race has already been decided according to General Motors. They are the team that continues year after year to be recognized as the best in the country. And lucky for us, they're just a short drive up I-65. Exit 310, Highway 31. You'll know exactly what I mean the second you walk in the door. Meet with Jonathan Yeager, you meet with Andy Cole. You recognize just how professional these guys are, what a great job they do. I just couldn't be more appreciative of the experience that I've had in being a repeat customer, just like 75% of their business. You can go get a Buick Encore GX. That's a nice, solid SUV. You get a $5,000 off the sticker price. That gets you under $25,000. You can get a GMC Sierra 1500 SLT trim. 67 is what you pay elsewhere. You pay just over 53 at Bill Smith. That's $14,000 off the sticker. It's reasons why people like me keep coming back. It's because of the elevated experience. So take the short drive up to Coleman. You'll be glad you did. You can also shop online, have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
Let's get to some starting quarterbacks around college football here. GMAC, just kind of get any thoughts that you may have. We know Zach Hell's out of the starter. You shared your thoughts there. Caden Salter's going to be the starter at Colorado. That's no real surprise. Going to make for a very intriguing matchup with he and Haynes King tomorrow night as Colorado and Georgia Tech go at it. Tennessee did extend Josh Heupel through 2030. We didn't mention that one yesterday. We discussed Haas Henge a little bit earlier for Oklahoma State, him being their starting quarterback. Texas A&M is going to be without 5-star freshman wide receiver Jerome Miles this year. An injury is going to sideline him. He's not going to be able to go. Gio Lopez is going to be the starter for North Carolina. We'll see them Monday night. No surprise at all. I mean, we knew that there were a couple of folks competing for this job, some that we had seen play a lot of college football, had kind of been around college football for a minute, some that some folks were still surprised were even involved in college football, but you went and got Gio Lopez for a reason. So Max Johnson, not going to get that job. Bryce Baker, the freshman, not going to come in and get that job. But this is why you went and got Gio Lopez, GMAC. You knew he was going to be your guy.
Well, I mean, we assumed, right? And it's really unfortunate for Max Johnson. I hope his career's not, in a position to be over because of the injury that he sustained last year. It was just a gruesome and brutal injury there, opening game of the season, and it just didn't materialize. And it's also unfortunate, too, because he fits kind of the mold of what I think Freddie Kitchens wants in his quarterback. Big, strong arm, athletic enough to move around, but it sounds like Gio Lopez is kind of the guy. Now, I'm really curious. If you look at their personnel, it's a little bit hard for me to figure out what his supporting cast is going to look like. They do have Kobe Pacer, who I really like, but he's kind of just a slot receiver. He's just your run-of-the-mill slot guy. That's not going to be enough. Now, what do they have on the outside? No clue. Don't know a lot about their depth at running back. I do think defensively they got a chance to be pretty good, but man, Gio Lopez, I've been impressed with him after going back and watching him a little bit more over the last couple days since this announcement took place. Like, I think he's got some game. I just don't know if he's got enough game to carry you. You know what I mean? So they're going to have to help him out a little bit with the scheme and try to take some of the pressure off by running the football.
All right, so also Jason Eck, head coach at New Mexico, has named Jack Lane their starter. He played in 7 games at Idaho last year, so that was for Eck as well. Rice has named Chase Jenkins their starter in Scott Abell's offense. Chase Jenkins was a quarterback and wide receiver for them a year ago, so we'll see how that thing kind of goes in that new offense there at Rice. Dylan Edwards going to be out for Kansas State against North Dakota. GMAC, big-time player, but you shouldn't need him in this one. Tough loss last week, we know that, but this is not North Dakota State. This is North Dakota. You should not need Dylan Edwards to go win this football game.
Shouldn't. The problem is the guy that was in for Edwards had some ball security issues. You know, he put the ball on the deck. So when you're playing against an FCS team, and while there is a pretty decent-sized gap in skill set, you don't want a guy that's going to potentially put it on the deck. So I'm not saying that I don't know anything about Joe Jackson, whether or not that's a trend of his. But that's something to be mindful of. And Dylan Edwards is a really good player, man. So I hope that he can get back. Sounds like it's an ankle injury. Don't know how long that's going to sideline him. Hopefully this is purely precautionary and preparing him for a stretch run, because Kansas State is still very much in the mix to be a player in the Big 12, even though they lost last week. Because the winner of the Big 12, Cole, I don't know how you see it. I think they got 3 losses. The league's just too tight. And the road environments in the Big 12 are sneaky really tough. So I don't see a team in the Big 12 that goes 10-2 or 11-1 this year. I think that league is probably going to have a 9-3 champion. So if Kansas State kind of regroup and not make the pivotal mistakes and be a little better on 4th down offensively and defensively, like, they could be back in the mix pretty quickly.
Speaking of Jackson, I want to give you the quarterback competition competitors for the Texas State #1 spot. And as I give you who Brad Jackson beat out, you tell me if you can remember where these players were.
Oh, gosh.
And this is going to be tough for some people in these parts to hear. Just going to go ahead and warn you guys. Slow your vehicles down. 10-2. Don't run off the road. Brad Jackson's a starter at Texas State. He beat out first Nate Yarnell.
Of Pitt.
Former, I believe, 5-star coming out. Maybe 4-star coming out. He was
You ain't a former 5-star. You 5-star for
fair.
life.
He's also 2nd-string 5-star now.
Tall drink of water. Big old boy. He's like 6'7".
Also beat out Keldrick Luster of?
Don't know.
I didn't expect you to, but I'm just throwing this out there for folks.
Okay, good.
SMU.
I feel better now.
He's an SMU transfer.
Okay.
And this is the
Love
one.
that.
This is where folks need to go ahead and tap the brakes a little bit. Just get ready, because this is not going to be comfortable.
Oh boy.
Brad Jackson also beat out Holden Garner.
Oh no. He was supposed to be the guy.
Not even at Texas State.
Nix.
Not even at Texas State. He's supposed to be the guy at Auburn last year.
I was told he was better than Bo Nix and Peyton Thorne.
Unfortunately, not better than Brad Jackson. So Brad will be the starter for Texas State. And the Auburn transfer, Holden Garner, also beat out. That's a lot of quarterback transfers in one room, by the way.
Yes.
Not sure how many will be there for the bye week, but Brad Jackson's your starter.
Fair enough.
From Brad Jackson? Not at college, but city.
Oh, gosh. Birmingham.
No, San Antonio, Greg. Come on.
Oh, gosh.
How do you not know that?
Your
Redshirt
other
freshman.
home away from home.
His other home, yeah.
Yes.
One of 3 home away from homes.
Correct.
Tell
Yes.
me you don't know the Riverwalk without telling me you don't know the Riverwalk. It's fine.
I don't know the Riverwalk. I do know San Antonio. Just haven't logged a lot of hours on the Riverwalk. Because you take the ferry ride every time you go get a virgin margarita
Thank you.
and sit around. A tuner? Is there a tuner rolling through there?
It's a pontoon ferry, I think.
Heck yeah. Tri-tune or just Just standard.
I think it has to be standard because the water's like 1.5 feet deep. They got to be careful. But yeah.
Now you can do try. You can do try on 1.5 feet.
One other starter, quickly. Just want your thoughts on this, and we don't go NFL a ton.
Oh boy.
John, your thoughts as well. Spencer Rattler is going to be the starter for the New Orleans Saints.
Everyone's saying the Saints are going to go like 2-15. Am I crazy to think that Spencer Rattler could actually be pretty good?
I think Spencer Rattler can play, man.
I agree.
And I thought he was a value pick where they got him. It was good to let him sit for a year. When they drafted Tyler Shuck and people automatically said he's the guy, I was like, I don't know, man. I watched Spencer at South Carolina, and I think he's got something. I think all the silly stuff's behind him now. He was a diligent worker his last couple of years at South Carolina. He was a guy that understood how to act and how to operate at that position. I would not be surprised if he has a pretty good year.
I mean, look, is he a franchise guy? I don't know. I have no idea. I really don't know. But I do think he's pretty talented. And I feel like everybody like, oh, man, mail it in. Like, I don't know if I see it that way with him. Like, I think he can go. I really do. I don't know what his ceiling is, and he is a little undersized, but I think he can play. I'd be a little surprised if he didn't play well.
There you go. All right, so that was kind of some of your starters around college football. Shane Beamer also saying he's not going to give out a depth chart, says it's not gamesmanship, just they're going to figure it out as they go. Also, Sam Pittman yesterday, as Arkansas set to kick off the season this weekend, some players that fans might need to know.
Well, I like our speed on the outside, with Jaylen Brown and Omega Blake, and I like those guys. Obviously, C.J. Brown's had a good camp, Monte Harrison. So those are two that we know about. But Jaylen and Omega Blake really are new would be new for our fans. We have certainly Mike Washington's a new guy at that he can hand the ball to, and then at the tight end spot, Rohan Jones can run, and Jaden Platt can run, and so those would be guys I think that our fans would be excited to see play.
I'm just going to tell you quickly, Rohan Jones, I went and watched his stuff. Montana State, 6'3", 240. He can go. Canadian kid, Greg. And he can get it. He can move.
Canada is that they produce some football players. I'll say this about like Omega Blake. I think he's a solid receiver. I don't know if I'd go as far as to say he's a game breaker by any stretch, but I think he's solid. Like, I think he can fit in that offense and actually have a pretty decent role. He's played a lot of football. Like, I think he's got a chance to be okay. The problem is I don't think they have any massive difference makers. You know what I mean? At wide receiver. Like, I think they have a bunch of guys that are solid. The good news is when playing against this style of attack, you're probably going to have to play a lot of zone defense. So these receivers are not going to be expected to beat one-on-one tight coverage, because if you really look at it, there is kind of amazing tendency of teams playing against Arkansas to play zone because you do not want the quarterback to take off and beat you with his legs. So if these guys are capable reading zones with their experience, that'll be helpful. I don't know how you see it.
No, I don't know what the difference maker need is really going to be. I do think that he can help a tight end. I do think they're going to have more emphasis on running the football. And because of what Taylor can do with his legs, I think that could open up a little bit more of the traditional run game, having to play a little bit wider, worry about the perimeter just a little bit more with him doing things down the line of scrimmage or with bootlegs, sprint outs, things like that. I think that's how you kind of try to even the defense up some. Don't know if people are going to respect it as much as maybe they should, and that's where – kind of similar to the Auburn game last year, like Taylor's got to make them pay. If they're going to rush too far up the field, if they're not going to overprotect the perimeter, he's got to get out there and make them pay, and then maybe that opens some other things up. You get your DNs widened out, and then you go inside zone at them, and should be able to find some space. I think if there's a place that Arkansas is probably underrated, Jones at tight end would be one, but I don't think people have any idea how good they could be at running back.
Yeah.
I think Mike Washington can get it. And he's big. Like, he's a guy that can handle 30 carries, 35 carries a game. Like, he can carry the load if he needs him to. And, then you have another big physical back in Braylon Russell. So it's like, it's not like they're not going to run out of hammers. They're not going to have to start using, like, the handle of a screwdriver to hammer the nail in. Like, they got hammers. They can just keep handing them over and keep going. So that could be kind of where they lean a little bit more, and Rodney Hill could be more of a change-up guy. But can that offensive line open that up for him consistently? I don't know. I just don't know. Trey Biddy will tell us at 8:15 today. We'll talk to Wimp Sanderson at 9 o'clock today. Mike Lutzenkirchen joins us at 9:40 today. So still a lot to get to right here on Jox. But, Greg, people probably need to know about Shannara Flooring first.
Yeah, they're terrific, and they have a tremendous amount of inventory in stock right now. 40,000 square feet of that CoreTech flooring by Shaw. It's in stock right now, which is really, really beneficial. And they're actually going to give it to you for a really nice deal. You can get $10 off per box if you order that CoreTech flooring by Shaw from Shannara Flooring. That can really stack some savings. Those savings can really add up. And $10 a box, man, it can load up very, very quickly. So highly recommend you going and checking out Shannara Flooring by going to footandyou.com. That's footandyou.com. You can get 12 months financing. That CoreTech flooring, by the way, is durable, dependable, long-lasting. It's going to upgrade your experience in your home or business. It's also going to upgrade the value of your home or business. So go and check them out. It's Shannara Flooring, footandyou.com.
All right, when we come back, we'll take a little bit further dive into some of those games coming up tonight and what you might be able to expect, and also talk to Trey Biddy about this Arkansas team, what we have found out about them through camp. That's next on Jox. All right, let's find out what's been going on in Arkansas's camp, how things are looking over in Fayetteville. That early stretch for the Hogs, not kind. Trey Biddy will join us now to discuss it. And Trey, we were just referencing, he's on the Higginbotham hotline. We were just discussing some of the offensive pieces. I love the fact that you have multiple hammers in the toolbox at running back. We know what Taylon Green can do to a defense to sort of even them out, force them to defend different things. And we just listened to Sam Pittman before we brought you on, discuss some of the receivers. Do they have, number one, a game breaker at wide receiver? And then number two, how much do they need a guy that can sort of be a game breaker type that can just consistently provide those explosives?
Well, I think they do need a guy. Thanks for having me on, Cole. I think they do need a guy, obviously, at wide receiver who's a go-to type. But I feel like the room top to bottom, man 1 through 12, is better than it was last year. I don't know that they have that go-to guy identified just yet. But they also, I don't think they had Andrew Armstrong identified the last couple of years. So somebody's going to end up catching these passes. Taylon Green's not going to go out there and throw for 1,000 yards this season. Somebody's going to catch these passes. A guy to watch might be Rohan Jones, the transfer from Montana State, originally from Canada. I mean, he can really, really run at 6'3", 245. He's been very impressive to me. Mike Washington does a good job catching the ball out of the backfield in practice. But, I mean, when I look at this offense, I see what I think will be an improved offensive line. How much, I don't know. But I definitely think it's improved when you consider all the factors of, bringing in Corey Robinson from Georgia Tech to replace your best offensive lineman so you can move him from left tackle to move him inside the guard where you think is a more natural position for him. I think they'll be better at center. I think that was an area they really struggled at last year. And I think they've got some good options on the right side too. I mean, you had like a couple of guys competing for starting jobs who all started last year, and aren't necessarily going to start this year. So, in fact, they moved one of them to defensive tackle, a guy who started 9 games for them on the offensive line last year. So that tells me they're probably going to be better up front. And, if they can keep Taylon Green healthy, they've got a shot. So I'll say this, Cole, we're looking at the outlook of Arkansas football. I don't think that anybody, aside from people who are directly employed by the U of A or who enrolled as a player at the U of A, have seen more practice in 2025 or attended more press conferences than I have. And I still don't know what to expect of this team. And you mentioned at the top the brutal slate to start. I think depending on how that goes, this team goes 4-8 or 8-4, and probably nothing in between.
It's kind of amazing to me to see what this group has now kind of become. It's a little bit of a transfer portal situation. There's a lot of unknowns, but I do think there is some upside, but it's almost exclusive because of the quarterback. What else would be considered a strength beyond the quarterback? That's what I need to know. What is a strength? I know what the quarterback is. What else is?
Yeah. Well, I mean, traditionally when I look at this team, I see 55 new players on scholarship, and that's a lot. I also see 28 seniors, and that's a lot. That's usually a sign of a good team, although it's everything's so different now with this transfer portal age. But you mentioned Taylon, and in addition to him being in year 2 of Bobby Petrino's offense, and was really beat up last year after about midseason with that Tennessee game, wasn't the same runner as he had been. But I think equally the offensive line, their ability, which I think is going to be vastly improved to protect him, should take it up a notch. Also, probably equally as much as being in year 2 of Bobby Petrino's offense. I always point to this video I saw on ESPN years ago of them breaking down Justin Fields. Look at the maturity, look at the poise in the pocket. He's going from his first, his second, his fourth, his fifth wide receiver option. And I'm just sitting there going, 1,001, 1,004, 1,007. Of course he looks mature and poised in the pocket. He's got all day to throw. And I think that'll help Taylon Green a lot, having trust and confidence in his offensive line. Defensively, they put all their money. Well, offensively, they put it in the offensive line. Defensively, they put it in the secondary. This is a secondary that was last in the SEC in yardage allowed last season. And they didn't just go out and this guy used to be a 5-star, we'll go get him. They got a lot of guys. They got Kenai Walker, who started at Oklahoma, Jordan Young, who started at Cincinnati. Keyshawn Davila was the number 1 ranked junior college prospect in the country. They've got Miguel Mitchell from Florida, who was part of the team last year but was hurt all year, ended up redshirting. He's at safety. And guys, this may be the biggest secondary in Razorback football history. You've got Larry Worth and Miguel Mitchell at safety, who are 6'4", 226, 6'1", 222. Your corners are 6'2", 204, and 208. You've got a lot of range, and this secondary didn't create a lot of turnovers last year. When you got big, rangy guys like that, that should help you get some balls batted into the air. But nobody's going to cover anybody for 5 seconds. So that is probably the weak point of this team, in my opinion, going in at least, is this defensive line. Not that they can't put 4 out there. It's just the overall depth of the defensive line. And that just is going to affect everything. And could be a reason they might not be as good overall on defense this year. But I think they're going to be significantly better on offense. We could see some high scoring games.
It's not a problem, Trey, that is only there is selectively in Fayetteville. I think defensive line depth an issue for about 85% of college football teams. They'd all love to have a couple of more guys that can help.
It's a weird year. There was not – I don't think that there was the amount of talent in the transfer portal that Arkansas thought was going to be there at defensive line, particularly on the interior. And I think part of that is a product of the teams that normally would just kind of let guys who were backups, maybe a little bit younger, go with revenue sharing in addition to the NIL structure that they have. I feel like they just kind of paid them to stick around. Like, at linebacker, a good example, like Xavier Sori, who came from Georgia, was a former 5-star recruit. Arkansas got him here last year. I'm not so sure this year that he's even available in the portal because, Georgia might have paid him to stick around another year.
That's fair. We're visiting with Trey Biddy. He covers the Arkansas Razorbacks. Get an idea just what this roster, what this depth chart, what this team going to look like heading into opening weekend for the Hogs. I want to go back to that offensive line because you said you think it'll be improved. Just kind of what you're hearing and where I've seen these guys play, have an idea of what their skill set is. What's giving you that extra confidence that this might be a much better than expected Arkansas O-line than what we've seen the last couple of years? Because when I said – on my podcast and on this show, Arkansas fans, they want to throw me in jail for saying that I thought it could be a better group. They just continuously just referencing how bad it's been and how could I say that. And I'm with you, but I'm interested to see what you've been hearing.
Yeah, well, Cole, we've all been hurt over here, so it's not you, it's us. We've been hurt enough. I think it starts from the inside. You start with the center. That's what Sam Pittman has always said. You start with the center, and then you go to the tackles, and then you figure out who your guards are. But bringing in Caden Kittler, who is the first guy since Ricky Stromberg, and that's been a few years ago, who played center the year before. Like everybody who has played center since Stromberg has been moved to center for that particular year. So I think having a guy with some experience, who can help get you in the right protections, I think will be huge because there were too many times last year where a guy just would come running free through the A-gap. They had a couple of guys who started for them on the offensive line, and people were panicking when they hit the transfer portal. But Arkansas just let them walk. They felt like they could go out and get better players. So it starts with Caden Kittler, the transfer from UCF, started 13 games as a redshirt sophomore for them last year. Started some games as a freshman for him also. And then you've got Fernando Carmona back, who was your best offensive lineman last year, so you retained him. But as I mentioned, he started at left tackle last year, and they moved him inside the guard because they felt like that was a more natural fit, and they went and got Corey Robinson. Corey Robinson was the number 1 ranked offensive lineman in Power 4 football when it came to protecting the passer and pass protection. Obviously, that was at Georgia Tech. It wasn't in the SEC, so he's got some monsters at defensive end. He's got to protect, but I don't believe he gave up a sack last year. So they feel like they're going to be better at left tackle. They'll be better at left guard because their best offensive lineman from last year is now playing left guard. I think they'll be significantly better at center, and then right guard. You had a competition. You've got Amarian Harris, Keyshawn Blackstock, and Kobe Branham all competing at that right guard slot. Two of those guys started last year. Now, Amarian is probably going to start at right tackle, and Kobe Branham has won that right guard spot. But Amarian's probably going to start at right tackle, which he played tackle and guard both last year. But he's got another guy that he's competing with, we're going to see a good bit of and could overtake him eventually once he gets a little more polished, and that is Shaq McElroy, who is the largest. I've been covering this team for 22 years. I grew up in this state. I'm 47 years old. I went to the University of Arkansas. I don't think I've ever seen a guy as big as Shaq McElroy. He's listed at 6'8", 344. He was 362 when he came in.
Birmingham kid.
Yeah, former top 100 prospect in the country. Went to Oregon last year as a freshman, transferred to Arkansas. He's a redshirt freshman. And, you know, he's listed at 6'8". There are other guys on the team listed at 6'8", and he's taller than them. Like his shoulder pads are, you know, where their neck starts. He is every bit of that. And just the way he's put together, you know, like I'd always see like Alabama offensive linemen on the depth chart. This guy's 6'5", 315. Oh, that's not that big. And you see him in person. Oh, that's a different kind of 6'5", 315. That's how Shaq is at 6'8", 344.
And you had Dan Skipper a couple years ago.
Yeah, well, Dan was tall, obviously, but I'm talking about just overall build. Just
mass, yeah.
Just how wide you are in conjunction with how tall you are. He's the biggest guy that I've ever covered, and has a lot of talent, and he can run. Like, he can run. So I'm anxious to see how he develops it. Will it be this year? I think it could be at a certain point. So we'll see how that shakes out. But yeah, I know the offensive line. I know the offensive line is better. I don't know how much better. Last year they were improved from the year before, but they were still below average. This year I think they're an above average offensive line. I just don't know if they're a good offensive line or a great offensive line or just slightly above average. We'll see.
Just be careful, Trey. You're not allowed to say that because the folks will get mad at you. It's against the rules over there, from what I've been told. All right, so going back to the early portion of the season, Alabama A&M, Arkansas State. And then it gets a little dicey, but you're at an Ole Miss team that is in a very different situation. We'll find out a lot about them. That D-line's not going to be anything close to what it was. I don't think the offensive line is going to be very good this year, but I think they got a quarterback. That's not going to be a problem. They got some weapons. Then you're at Memphis the next week, which I actually hate that game. I think there's a chance you could go get Ole Miss and then just be very careful with that one because Notre Dame's the next week and then at Tennessee. So you kind of stated a little bit earlier, a couple of things have to happen early to right the ship for this season. What exactly do you see? Do they just have to start 3-0? Do they have to start 4-0? Is it get, 3 of the first 4 going into Notre Dame? What do you kind of have to see as the path for real success for this team early on?
Yeah. I mentioned at the top that this team's either going 4-8 or 8-4. When we did our season predictions, I did a total cop-out and split it down the middle at 6-6 just because I don't know. I mailed it in with the cop-out on the prediction. But if they're going to start off, if they're going to go 8-4 this season, they got to go 4-0 out of the gate. And they can do that. They can go for, like, if that Ole Miss game is not circled on your calendar since December, I don't know what to tell you. They came in and embarrassed you in Fayetteville last year. They were throwing the ball deep in the fourth quarter, and I get it. Lane Kiffin's worried about trying to make the college football playoff, put it up an impressive win. But that was, like, to me, like, that's a complete sign of disrespect. Sam Pittman has said, everybody that came into his office already had a deal on the table, during the transfer portal cycle. Ole Miss took 3 of the players off your roster: Patrick Kudus, Luke Haas, Jalen Braxton, 3 of your better players. Just took them off your roster. Like, we can say whatever we want about this or that. Like, these guys were taken off the Arkansas roster. And Lane Kiffin was brazen enough to, and that's fine. This is, Lane Kiffin's worried about his own team. Somebody tweeted out Arkansas has become Ole Miss's farm team. And Lane Kiffin retweeted that. He later deleted it, but he retweeted that. To me, I'm showing that stuff to my entire team. And Arkansas has gone down there the last 2 times they played there, and they played them, 54-53. One year they lost, and maybe 52-51.
Yeah, I think I had that one 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple years ago they lost by 7 in Oxford. So they played well there. They just last year they got their tails kicked in Fayetteville. The time before that in Fayetteville, they kicked the crap out of Ole Miss. It was 42-6 at one point. So they can do that. I've got them also in those predictions that I did, just because it feels very on brand to go to Oxford and beat Ole Miss, and then the next week to let down a little bit and go to Memphis and lose. Memphis was 11-2, 10-3 the year before. I mean, they're a good football team. So, but yeah, if they're going to get off to an 8-4, if they're going to finish 8-4, they need to go 4-0 out of the gate, because Notre Dame's coming to town. You've got a trip to Tennessee. You do get a bye before that Tennessee game, but you got a trip to Tennessee. They've got some questions still too. And then there's that 3-game stretch: Texas A&M, Auburn, Mississippi State, all at home. So if you can start off with some, like, we're in the honeymoon right now. All these players, the culture's so good. This is my best friend. I've never been in an offensive line room that has the bond like this. This is the thin right now. What happens when it gets thick? You lose some of those games early. These coaches don't know what they're doing. Who am I going to play for next year? Who's going to be my coach at Arkansas next year? It's your fault. All this kind of stuff creeps in, especially, I think, with so many new players and more, I don't want to say a shallow relationship, but just not that long-term relationships that you might have. And momentum is a real thing. I don't mean to say anything about Missouri, but have you seen their schedule, Cole? I know you have. First 6 games in Columbia. Their first 6 games are all at home. Arkansas, I believe their first 5 games are in 5 different venues. First 4 games are in 4 different venues. And it was like that last year. Arkansas does a terrible job of scheduling. Some of that's the SEC, but Arkansas does a lot of this stuff to themselves. But it's a brutal start to the season for them. While Missouri, has a chance to, go 5-1, be nationally ranked. Heading into that Alabama game. Arkansas has some challenges, but if they can get through it, some things do open up for them in the middle part of the season.
If they can just find a way to get 3-0, I'm with you. That door's open, and you find a way to survive Memphis. And as you know, DW will be rocking for Notre Dame. I don't care if it is 11 a.m. That place will be insane for Notre Dame coming to town with a team that was maybe 4-0 and a win against a top 25 Ole Miss team on the road. That will be bananas.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I wish that was a night game, but you can't have night games all the time, and that's a time slot that will put a lot of eyes on that game.
Absolutely. So, Trey, great stuff, man. Thanks for filling us in, getting us set for the Hogs this weekend. Always enjoy talking to you. Let's do it again soon.
I agree with all that. All right. Bye, guys.
Trey Biddy covers the Arkansas Razorbacks at Trey Biddy. You can follow him on Twitter. Some reason for optimism there. I think some of the things that he said, John, why when we had our practice, I guess it was earlier this week, last week, and we kind of said, will you eliminate Arkansas from SEC championship game contention? And I said, I'm not going to completely eliminate them. I like a couple of the guys on defense. Now, Trey's right. I'm with him on the depth. After Cam Ball and Justice Boone and maybe 1 or 2 others, there are not a lot of guys there that are ready. But I love the linebackers. I love Xavier Sori. I love Steven Dix, what you can do with him, moving him around just a little bit. I think that gives Travis some versatility to be able to scheme some things up. See, I could see this is how it would need to go. You get Alabama A&M, you get Arkansas State, you go to Ole Miss. Travis gives you some defense you've never seen. Austin Simmons maybe struggles a little bit. You run the ball against a D-line that doesn't look like it's going to be great or it's going to be very different. And then all of a sudden you find a way to get that one on the road. You survive Memphis, and now you got Notre Dame at home. And that'll be a bloodbath. 2 teams probably trying to go ground and pound, not lose the game. That game will take an hour and 52 minutes. And then we'll see where you are. Because what happens if that takes place and you get Notre Dame at home and you're 4-0 and you got to go to Tennessee? We think Tennessee's going to be world beaters this year? So, and then, the back end of the schedule is nasty. LSU, Texas, Missouri to close it out. So we'll see what Sam Pittman and his group can do. We're going to try to do a little something different for you and maybe preview tonight's Samford game when we come back next right here on Jox. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, Thursday, August 28th, 8:43 a.m. right here on Jox. Sanford kicks off tonight. Be over there in Homewood going. Live tackle football. If you want to go watch it in person, you can do that against West Georgia, 6:30 on ESPN+. What are you kind of anticipating for this Sanford team this year, Damian?
I think for Sanford this year, it's going to be a little unique because the only returning starter that they have is quarterback Quincy Crittenden. And last year was his first year in the system. He kind of gives you a different he's got some juice with his legs. And I think I'm excited to see what Hatch does on the offensive side of the ball with him. And they've got a lot of younger guys that are going to have to step up. It's kind of similar to Tennessee as far as the offensive side of the ball goes, because it's a lot of guys that were a few of the guys that were on the roster last year, but they they weren't the starters. They weren't the main guys. Like Preston Bird, he got some burn last year, and he came on late due to injury, but he's kind of looked at as kind of the go-to guy on the offensive side of the ball. And on the defense, they have a new defense coordinator, Coach Sloan. He's going to be more of a four-man front, but I do think a name that people need to get used to hearing because he's been bubbling up the past couple years, but it's Jaden Mosley. He is an absolute thumper. A middle linebacker who's really he's got a nose for the football, and he wrecks shop. So I'm interested to see how they start off this season. A little bit of revenge with West Georgia, because they ended up knocking them off last year. But I think Hatch has a plan of attack. It's an air raid, but I think that he's gonna lean on running the ball a little bit more because you hear a lot about C.J. Evans, a guy they got at the transfer portal.
Hatch run the ball more?
Yeah, I think he's going to, man. He's made it a little bit of a point because the fall camp have been physical. They've been extremely physical, but I think that Sanford should be pretty confident going into this season.
All right, there you go. They get going tonight. Obviously, we mentioned Alabama State at UAB tonight. I'm intrigued, GMAC, just to see how the offense will come together. It sounded like when we visited with Trent Dilfer a little earlier in the week that maybe scaling things back offensively a little bit. And it's one of the things that stuck out. I remember the first time we had him in studio, and he just starts going into everything he wanted to try to do and wanted to try to be. And I'm just thinking, somebody that's been around college football, like, hold on now. There are a lot of new faces, new places. Guys are moving left and right. It feels like that's going to be difficult. But sounds like now maybe try to calm things down a little bit, confident with what he's got back in the quarterback room, has some weapons on the perimeter. I'm interested to see if the offense can finally take a step because it's been close in previous years. It's a run goes for 8, and then you put the ball on the ground. You get a nice drive started, and then you take a couple sacks. That consistency may begin to actually show up a little bit for Coach Dilfer's offense tonight.
Yeah, I think the offense is not been my biggest concern for UAB. At least it hasn't been for a while. I think they could score. I do think in visiting with him, they've adjusted their processes. Remember, he's a first-time college head coach, so it's understandable that maybe there was a bit of a learning curve from him with what you can put on the guy's plate. And I do think at times early in the season, maybe they overdid it with the install, maybe overdid it with the amount of options they had on a week-to-week basis, and maybe they've cut back a bit now. Maybe a little bit more of the thinking is less is more. Like, let's do less better. And I think that's going to be helpful. So I think the offense will be fine. Still continues to be a concern of mine is what they have defensively. Like, I don't know where you see it, but that's my biggest fear is that defensively, maybe they're not significantly improved. And if they're not significantly improved, that could be a problem.
I would agree there. Defensively, need to limit some of the explosive plays, take the ball away a little bit more as an emphasis Coach Dilfer told us through the offseason. So they'll go tonight against Alabama State. Jacksonville State gets going against UCF. I think intrigue in a lot of ways here, GMAC, because you get Scott Frost back at UCF. The personnel flip has happened again, which I feel like at UCF now we're talking about that take place multiple times in the last 4 or 5 years. So the roster that's going to be there, not one that I'm sure a ton of people have confidence in. And then what Rich Rod was able to do at Jacksonville State was pretty impressive. And then now all of a sudden it looks like that's going to change over again. But some talent there, a group that should have some confidence. Head coaching debut. I'm interested to just see kind of how that thing plays out.
Yeah, and help me understand this. Like, what do you think? Let's start with Rich Rod. I'm not sure just on a straight up exo scheme standpoint, there's a guy that's a whole lot better in college football. Like, this guy wins, and he creates opportunities in the run game everywhere he goes, whether it's at Arizona, at West Virginia. You can look at the run that he had at Michigan, but Michigan was challenged at that point, and it just never really felt like a phenomenal fit, never felt like he had full support. So that was a little bit difficult to kind of forecast and assess, but I just have a lot of belief in his ability to coach guys up and make guys better and put a system in that causes problems. So I think it's a great fit. I also think that in an era where you need to have a guy that's capable of generating excitement within the fan base, both Scott Frost and Rich Rodriguez have done that at UCF and at West Virginia, respectively. So I'm pretty optimistic about this hire in what should be a really competitive Big 12.
Interested to see Charles Kelly. So many coaches around college football love him. If you're around him, it's not hard to really understand why. Great guy, has only coached at like 38 different places, and he finally gets a shot to be a head coach at a place that's had a lot of success historically and had success recently with Rich Rod kind of getting things going. Familiar faces on that staff too. Deshaun Davis, who folks will remember, played linebacker at Auburn. He'll be a member of that staff. Obviously, the offensive line will be getting a bump in the quarter before they go.
Get a bump.
Rick Trickett.
Coach Trickett is.
Oh, he's still there, yeah. And Clint will be the offensive coordinator, so they get to work together. I don't think Clint's making his quarterbacks get a pump in the corner before they go out. But, hey.
Maybe should.
Never know. Depends on how much intimidation they feel like they need against the Knights. If those DBs, need a little bit of scaring, some scare tactics for the DNs, making sure they stay rushing upfield and not kind of bending the edge. You're pumping the corner. So there, you get that going too.
Yourself a pump.
Yeah. So we'll see how that one goes. Also, if you remember Eric Davis, not the former Cincinnati Red Eric Davis, but the San Francisco 49er DB, director of player personnel there for Jacksonville State also. So
yeah,
just another name to throw out there for what Charles Kelly's put together. He's got a good one. Adding some value to his coaching staff. We're going to add some value to what you hear right here on Jox Now. Introduce you to our friend and wealth advisor, Tad Hill, your trusted retirement planning partner. Tad is the co-host of the Retire with Freedom radio and TV shows in Birmingham and Huntsville, and also been designated by Forbes as the #1 financial securities professional in the state of Alabama multiple years running. Tad, what do you have for us today?
What I'd like to talk about today are two very specific retirement planning challenges that most people are going to have these days. And that is, when do you take Social Security? When is the right time for you to do it, your spouse to do it? And also, do you have a pension decision to make? Now, not everybody has a pension decision to make, but if you do, and you're trying to decide, do I take the annuity? Do I take the lump sum? If I'm going to take the annuity, do I do 100% spousal, 50, 0%? And then just the whole decision around how do I make sure that these sources of income are augmenting my retirement the way I need them to. And then we've got to figure out how to take your savings and turn that into the income that you need to add to those other sources. We can help you figure these things out. I would encourage you to come to a course or come in for a visit. The way to do that is to text Jox at 205-988-0006. That's 205-988-0006.
This is a paid placement. Investment advisory services are made available through AE Wealth Management. For more information about Forbes rankings, visit Forbes.com.
Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Thursday, August 28th, 8:54 a.m. right here on Jox 94.5. Nebraska-Cincinnati tonight, GMAC. One that we have tried to warn people. Sneaky. Be careful. Watch this game. Don't think that this is going to be one that because everybody looks at Nebraska as this powerhouse program that they're just going to walk through this game. This one could be tight. This one could be close. This could be one that becomes much more entertaining than people are believing right now.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with the turnover that Nebraska is experiencing in the front seven defensively. If there's one thing we know for sure about Cincinnati is that they are going to attempt to run the football horizontally. If you think about when you've watched Missouri, for example, the last couple years, what do they do better than anybody in the SEC? Execute stretch zone, right? Well, Eli Drinkwitz runs stretch zone because Scott Satterfield runs stretch zone. They both did so at Appalachian State with great success. So if you like how Missouri runs their offense, you're going to like how Cincinnati runs their offense. And Cincinnati's quarterback is also a dude in Brennan Sorsby. He can run. And I think he's got pretty good group. And I think they have an all-American defensive tackle in Dante Corleone. So they got some things to like. It will not be an easy fight tonight for Nebraska.
Cincinnati looking to make Nebraska an offer they can't refuse tonight.
Oh, on the day of my daughter's wedding.
We'll see how it plays out. All right, before we move on to Coach, Wimp Sanderson going to join us at the top of next hour. Also want to let you know next hour, Mike Letzenkirk going to join us, and we are going to go – do we go max ball on a Thursday? It's the first day of week one. We may be a little max ball-ish in the next hour right here on Jox. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. 9 a.m. Thursday, August 28th. Week 1 game day is here. We'll go semi-max ball in the middle of this hour. Before we do that, he joins us each and every week at this time. Thanks to our friends at Coke and Piggly Wiggly. It's the coach, Wim Sanderson.
Well,
We got you, Coach, loud and clear.
no NBA talk by you two before I get on.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the NBA?
Guys, we got the Mavs on
Yeah,
Christmas night, Coach.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. Yeah, you Goobers are great. I ain't got no blue plate for on Thursdays, but I talk about some football games that I think LSU has lost 5 in a row in opening games. It could be 6. Line's 4. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. They've yacked a little bit about the Clemson not having this kind of home field advantage that they have, which may stir them up a little bit. I don't know about that game. You like that one? You mess with it. I'm not sure. Florida State, hey, y'all, 50 new cotton-picking players. Now, can you teach 50 players to play the way that you want them to play in the first game of the season? Can y'all? Answer that for me. Can you?
Probably not, but I don't know if you need 50 to be dangerous.
Okay.
You just need a couple that are getting things going the right way, and it can make some things happen, and you need your opponent to make some mistakes. So if you can cause a few of those and have a few guys on the same page, I think now, Coach, it's more just being close at this point. Nobody's going to have – there might not be a team in college football that has 50 guys on the same page week 1.
If you got 50, Coach, you're doing pretty good. I'm going to be honest with you. I feel great about it.
Hey, Greg.
Yeah, buddy.
Can the offensive coordinator who gave Nick Saban, who's supposed to be, not supposed to be, is good, trouble offensively at Auburn, did a lot of cute things, threw when he's going to run when he wasn't supposed to throw, those kinds of things. Can he bring that theory and that thought? That's all I get on my show. Those theories and that thought with a Boston College transfer quarterback who runs his mouth. Can he implement stuff by simply looking at South Alabama's defense? I think this is a great question. By studying South Alabama's defense over a period of time, so he knows what to run, can he give them some trickery and deceit?
Yeah, I mean, I think Gus Malzahn will have a pretty good plan. The big challenge in playing against Gus is being prepared for the tempo. That is the hardest part about playing against Gus. And that is what I would be most worried about, because we've talked for a while now, Coach, and I'm sure it's the same in basketball. You can scrimmage and you can practice and you can run gassers and you can run 300-yard shuttles and you can run 110s and you can be in the most incredible running shape of your life, and yet you're going to be absolutely gassed in week 1 of the football season because you're not in game shape yet. And playing against a tempo team in week 1 is of concern, for sure, from a strength and conditioning standpoint. So we'll be watching that closely. That's the toughest part. As far as scheme, I think the biggest thing that Gus has always done is he's going to try to run the football. His offensive passing attack is pretty vanilla. His passing game in general is not outrageously complex. But you know who's has been in the past? Mike Norvell. So I think the blend, and there will be some ghost chasing from Kane Womack and the Bama defensive staff, because I'm sure they're probably sitting there thinking, like, how much Norvell are we going to get and how much Malzahn are we going to get? Because the offenses, while similar in some cases, not exactly the same. So I think they'll have a pretty vanilla plan just to kind of adapt and adjust on game day. I don't expect a lot of aggressiveness from Kane Womack in this one early, because you just kind of want to see what they're going to do.
Yeah, well, it's for Alabama. It's more of a read defense. I don't know what that means, but it's more of trying to really read the formations of the opponent, and I think Gus will give you some formations that maybe they haven't seen. At least I'm sure he's studied like devil against what Gus did against Alabama when he got the job at Alabama. I guess I want to ask Cole this stupid question, and it's okay. Then I want to say something I'll say something about Auburn first. Jackson Arnold has been picked by many to be the most improved or the biggest surprise in the SEC this coming year. Now everything's speculation. And he was at Oklahoma when they had all kind of injuries. I think he's the right kind of person. Any comments on him?
Who is this, Coach?
Jackson Arnold, the quarterback at Auburn.
Listen,
quarterback at Auburn.
If you're talking about what he can be, what he has the potential to be, it's on par with maybe anybody in college football. I mean, throws a beautiful deep ball. He gets the ball out quick. He can deliver it. He can deliver a nice ball. I mean, it looks gorgeous coming out. He's got great wheels. He's not just a guy that's nimble in the pocket or, can break you down when there's a pass rush. Like, you can design run plays for him, and he can be explosive there. But he's got to let go of the football, and he can't throw it to the other team. And when he's in the pocket moving around, he's got to hold on to the football. So those are some of the things that are a major issue with him. It had to be coached out of him. It needed to be coached back into him. Confidence was a real problem for him last year. And Greg and I have run through all the different laundry lists of reasons in which that probably took place. But sometimes that doesn't change. It's not change of scenery. It's not new coaching. It's not new system. Sometimes it's just in you. And it's not going to come out. So I think the goal for Auburn should be to find ways to maximize his ability without putting 80% of the game plan on him. I don't know where Greg is on this. He and I haven't had really this part of the conversation, which means run the football first, which probably means run him some, which there was a portion early on last year where he needed to be really careful because he was running into harm's way, trying to run people over, which, sometimes you can do that against Houston. But be careful when you get, A&M and LSU and Auburn. Don't try to do that. But I think you minimize how much just falls in his lap for the entire game. Try to run the football first. Give him some high percentage throws to sort of boost that confidence because he's got guys, coach, that can take a short pass and go the distance. And then hopefully that opens up some better matchups down the field for when he does want to take those chances because he can deliver the ball down the field. And he's got guys that can go get it. He just has to understand when to pull the trigger and want to pull the trigger to be able to make some of those plays go.
Well, I don't think he should have talked about who's going to call the plays personally, but because that doesn't matter. But I don't think it needs to go public. Anything on that, Greg? About Jackson Arnold?
I think the big thing with Jackson Arnold is just run him. You know what I mean? I know it sounds simple, but I would want to just kind of run him to just kind of simplify what Baylor's doing defensively. If there's one thing we know about Baylor is that they are suspect in the secondary. I think they're good up front. I think their front seven's solid. And I think they'll have a good plan. I do. But they are a little suspect in the secondary. They're a little beat up there. They have two guys that might miss the game because of injury. We'll see what happens there. I mean, I'm tempted to take some shots for sure. But I also think that the best way to simplify what Aranda's doing is to run the football. And I think when Jackson Arnold was playing his best football last year, it was when he was a runner first and a passer second. That's kind of how I'd approach the season this year.
Okay. All right. Before I get out of here, I've had this question asked me, and I can't answer it, Cole. So you answer it for me. If the listeners that they don't want to listen, they turn the radio off. What's the difference in pass blocking and regular blocking?
What would regular blocking be? Run blocking?
Well, I should say run blocking. What's the difference in run blocking and pass blocking?
Well, one you're catching, one you're pushing is the main difference.
All right, there's an answer. Say it to me again.
Essentially, to make it as elementary as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, one you're pushing, one you're catching. And the hard part about pass protection is You have to take all the physicality that comes with run blocking when you're doing everything in your power to move a guy against his will. Most of the time. Sometimes you're pulling out in space, and hopefully you get a DB and you can knock his helmet off, decleat him, and run him all the way to the bench and just throw him over the Gatorade table. But you're taking all the aggressiveness that comes with that part of the game, yet you're going backwards initially and allowing a 6'3", 290-pound D tackle to run right down the middle of you while essentially going backwards right out of the gate. So imagine you're telling a guy to take a charge while he's moving backwards.
Yeah.
It's tough because you got to go backwards, and then you have to regain yourself and re-implement all of that physicality to try to stop that individual from getting to your quarterback.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. And, in the world of sports today, the coaches get the most. They get burned the quickest. They get fired the quickest now than they ever have been. The coaches lose the game rather than the players. It's, generally speaking, I think it's the players that win the games. But you don't say as a coach that the players lost the game, but the players win the cotton picking games. The coaches can help them with film study and different calls during the game. Certainly that's true, but I think basically the players win a game. So that's something else I had to ask you, and I forgot what it is because I'm old as dirt. But anyway, that's about it, I guess. I know it's bad to have a basketball guy on during the middle of football season, but I think those things it's okay. So
no, we always appreciate you, Coach, and we know each and every week you're brought to us by our friends at Coke and Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah, Coke and Piggly Wiggly are the best. Coke, I've been drinking them for all my life, and that's a long life. And Piggly Wiggly, you go through Piggly Wiggly, and you'll get the meats that are great, and you'll get everything. It's just right for. They'll help you all they can. It's a great store to go to. They've got a lot of locations throughout our listening audience, and you can't miss it by going to Piggly Wiggly. I'm there in there all the time. I appreciate you guys, and I'll talk to you next week, and we'll see what happens. Thanks.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. Greg, how many emails do you get done per show?
Not many. I mean, a lot actually, but it depends on the day. Today, a lot.
The keyboard goes hard during the show.
Well, I can't stop researching stuff. Like if he starts talking about the Jackson Arnold stuff, I start pulling up Jackson Arnold stuff and looking up stats and numbers and how he does in the run game, and when he rushes for more than he throws it, how does that work? Like that, just start kind of going down the rabbit hole.
I want to go
see if there's another question that can be bounced off of.
I want to go further into that, some of the items with him specifically that Coach brought up. Before we do that, though, tell our listeners about Crocker Moving Services.
They're a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys. You can trust them in your home. They did your whole home packed up and move. Your company headquarters moved across country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room. These guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you purchased and need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website is crockermovingservices.com. It's crockermovingservices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
All right. I don't want to do that now because I think we could get into it. It could be lengthy. But I want to get your thoughts on where I went with Coach Sanderson on Jackson Arnold and his sort of role as the Auburn quarterback, where you see it, maybe where you think it needs to be. We'll do all that next right here on Jox. Thursday, August 28th, 9:17, right here on Jox. Some pretty big matchups coming up tonight. And even some that won't be overly competitive, like Central Arkansas, Missouri. You want to see how that quarterback situation is going to work out. Bo Perbula is going to go first half, Sam Horn second half. So we don't get the whole we're going to split the halves with two quarterbacks this much in this day and age. Wisconsin, new offense, kind of going back to their roots. Jeff Grimes, the new offensive coordinator, more ground and pound. Now it's Miami of Ohio, so how much do we really learn? Don't know, but how's that going to look? And that'll be an Alabama opponent coming up here in a couple of weeks. Elon's at Duke, year 2 Manny Diaz. How does that open up with an in-state opponent? UT Martin, Oklahoma State. Greg said a little early in the show, Oak State could maybe be a team flying under the radar for some folks in a Big 12 that looks really crowded with potential conference championship game contenders this upcoming season. So we got a lot to get to. I want to go back to Jackson Arnold, get your thoughts on games tonight, this weekend, 800-239-9569. Tweet in at Mac and Cube. Before we do that, though, G-Mac, tell our listeners how great Bromberg's is.
Well, Bromberg's where I've been going for a very long time because of the experience that you get. It's an elevated experience, and these are not purchases that you want to mess around with. These are purchases that might be in your family for multiple generations. So I'd highly recommend going and checking out Bromberg's and seeing exactly what they have in store. They have gold, silver, platinum, natural diamonds, tremendous gifts to give to people that might be tying the knot at some point this fall. I hope that's not happening that often, but it does happen from time to time. If they're registered, they're probably registered at Bromberg's. Highly recommend you go in and getting a gift from there because they have such nice stuff. Go and check them out at the Mountain Brook Village store. They're currently undergoing a renovation to make your experience even better in the future, and they can still always see you at the summit as well. So go see Bromberg's today. They're the very best.
Two things quickly. Number one, John, is the crisscross thing just coming back? Are we just doing this again? Cam Newton is wearing Mike Vick's jersey on backwards. Drewski did this last week. We don't really need to do this, do we?
If you're taking fashion advice from Cam Newton and Big Ol' Drewski, I think you got problems.
Okay. Second, speaking of fashion advice, have we seen these rivalries uniforms for the NFL?
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest swings and misses I've seen in a long time.
It's bad? The NFL, huh?
Oh.
I'm pulling it up. Stand by.
It's like the indoor football league took over the uniform making for the weekend. The Buffalo Bill with like the diamond ice cut, whatever that is, stained glass something or other.
NFL
Wrong.
rivalry uniforms.
Wrong.
Okay.
The Rams futuristic number shoulder thing looking, whatever that is. No. This is not it, NFL. But you know what?
What about, I feel like it's kind of
12-year-olds
cool,
will be
though,
into it, so.
It's cool that Seattle is going to be using the Seattle Dragons jerseys from the XFL a couple years ago.
Why not? They're just sitting there.
We have that going for us.
I appreciate that the Arizona Cardinals just threw sand on their uniforms.
Oh, heck yeah.
Why not?
How mad are you if you're Buffalo and you just get icy whites? Oof, these are rough. I don't mind the Miami, actually. That one I can live with.
The numbers on the Dolphins jersey, though.
Yeah, but that's the same numbers they use. Like it's not new, nor is it different, right?
Oh no, the Jets are doing the metal thing on the arm sleeves like Oregon did back in the day.
Yeah.
Don't do that. That's not
the Jets is not the least of my concerns. There's a lot.
No,
more
but that little trying to look like metal with the sideways bars that go in like a square. That's a bad look. That's like you're not tough with that on.
The blue of the Patriots isn't bad.
What?
Like the blue of it is like okay, I'll give you that.
What's the stripe though? Like what's that honeycomb thing supposed to be on the stripes? And the stars on the neck, it's okay. Patriots may have come out best. I will say this: the 49ers numbers are sweet.
Those aren't bad. Yeah.
Like the old school, it's like the old West 49ers. Yeah, they got that part right. But that's about it. I'm not sure they got anything else right. Like Greg said, the Seattle Dragons, they just borrowed them. Seahawks did. Y'all can have those for the weekend.
You're a big Dragon guy.
Arizona's dirt uniform is awesome. Hey, what are you going to do for the uniforms this week? Just throw some dirt on it?
It's called Built to Last.
What is?
Their uniform. That's the theme, I guess. I don't know. Built to last. The Bills is Cold Front.
I didn't know we were naming them.
LA Rams is Midnight Mode. Miami Dolphins,
Stop.
Dark Waters. New England Patriots, Nor'easter with the apostrophe after the R.
Is that anti-Easter?
Ooh,
I guess it's
that's a good question. I don't think so.
Nor'easter, I guess.
Is it Nor'eastern or Nor'easter?
Your boy G-Mac's old team, the Jets, are going with a soccer theme, the Gotham City Football Club.
Hmm.
Great.
The 49ers have For the Faithful. Could have easily had the number 4 in there. Would have at least made it better or worse. I'm not quite sure.
may have helped some.
And the Seahawks are going High Decibel Zone.
What is it? So there's supposed to be sound waves on the uniform?
Maybe.
Ooh, that's a great call.
And why not put it as 12? Why put 11? If you're proclaiming to be the 12th man, like why not have it 12?
Because the 12th man doesn't play, John. He's in the crowd.
It's literally his name is in the Ring of Honor.
Nope.
I seen it.
But he doesn't play, so he doesn't get a jersey.
How you know he's not an invisible spy?
He doesn't even get to ring the bell or whatever before the game, or raise the flag, whatever they do. One of those things. These aren't good. And my kid's gonna.
They're not as bad.
Love them.
Your original take is 100% fair, but they are not as bad as I anticipated.
The Arizona Cardinals have a uniform that is designed to look dirty. It's dumb.
Yeah.
The only thing dumber than that are the helmets made to look like they're leather.
Looking at you, Pitt.
Listen, a lot of schools
Looking
have
at you,
tried
Illinois.
it. The Packers have tried it. A&M tried it a while back. Not a single one of those have ever looked good. You know why? Because it has a modern face mask on it. Therefore, it's stupid. Okay. Good luck with these. You'll sell a couple. Congrats.
Is that a weirder look or the Guardian caps?
Ooh, Greg doesn't want to know what I heard about Guardian caps this weekend.
Oh, no.
I'm not going to do it to you. I'm not going to do it. It'll put you in a bad place. It's a great day. We got football at 4:30.
They're going to start making them wear it in games.
No. But there's research that apparently is really positive. That's all I'm going to say.
That they're good?
Not that they're bad, Greg. Why would...
Well, I'm aware that they're positive. I'm aware that they enhance safety.
But I'm just saying that I think the research is a lot better than they even thought it was going to be.
Okay. Well, I'm not saying they don't look good. They look terrible.
They do.
But they do protect. I get that. It's just there's something weird about when guys hit each other and you don't hear the helmets pop.
I still don't understand why we can't just go back and do what Mark Kelso did. Or Steve Wallace. Steve Wallace played tackle for the 49ers. He had one. It was like just an extension of the helmet, but it wasn't the sectioned off like, what do you call that, perforated?
Yeah.
Whatever that was, like mush. Why can't you just make it look like the helmet? It's happened before. We've done it. But apparently we can't do it now. All right, when we come back, we will talk Jackson Arnold, Auburn offense. How should it look? Next on Jox. There's not much that can lift your spirits more than college football live on your television. And that happens at 4:30 today on ESPN, Boise at USF, which we think, by the way, could be a really, really good game. A lot of people are going to kind of swipe left on that one, bypass it, not think it's going to be good. I think it could be spectacular. USF, most of your starting offensive line back, multiple receivers back, your quarterback returns in an offense that we know under Alex Golis can flat out get it. Disruptive defensive front against a Boise team that, with Ashton Jeanty, Greg, kind of disguised a little bit of their physicality last year, but you know what you're going to get. You know what the offense is going to be. You'll get multiple tight ends at different times. They're going to run downhill. They're going to try to play action shot off that. The defensive line is going to shoot their hands. They're going to come off the ball north and south. They're going to. We know what you're going to get. It's just a matter of can you withstand it.
Correct. And I honestly think that this could be just such a massive opportunity. Sometimes you just have to go with like opportunity. I don't know if you see it that way, but sometimes when you just acknowledge the opportunity that's sitting right in front of you as a program, it allows you to just dig and elevate a little bit deeper. And that's kind of where I'm at in this game for USF. I just think it's so important to go and play well and perform at a high level and all these other things that I'd just be really surprised if they don't show up and play really well today.
I would anticipate that.
You know what I mean? It just means too much to their program.
Maddox Madsen, by the way, low-key 3,000 yards, 23 touchdowns, 6 picks last year. A really good year, completing over 62% of his passes. And Malachi Nelson was the incumbent, the 5-star, the all-everything. And all of a sudden, Madsen beats him out, goes out, has a pretty good year. Now, what you don't have is 2,600 yards from Ashton Jeanty. That is not going to be there. So,
correct.
How do you fill that void? Complete difference maker, totally different guy. You're not replacing that. You're just not. Sire Gaines will be back. Malik Sherrod there. You'll see what you can do as far as sort of filling that void, GMAC, a little bit more by committee. Sherrod has been at Fresno previously. But the system will allow that part to be successful without having a generational talent. Now it might be just a little bit more Madsen having to do a little extra around it.
Yeah, and I think Madsen's pretty good. I mean, let's not get it twisted. Like, I think he's actually quite good. The problem is I don't know if he's good enough to carry you. I think he's scrappy. I think he's athletic. I think he's a good runner. I think there's a lot to like about his skill set. But can he carry you? I don't know if I feel great about that. So he's better served in a little bit of a, Robin to the Jeanty Batman role. So do they adequately replace Jeanty? I mean, they went out, they got the running back from Fresno, solid player, not Jeanty, but solid player. I'm really, really fascinated by this Boise team. I think there's a lot of hype, and I think for good reason. There are a lot of teams playoff pick out of the G5, a lot of people's playoff pick out of the G5, but I'm in kind of see it to believe it mode if you're kind of catching my drift.
I'm with you, but I think it's going to be an intriguing one in multiple ways. So, by the way, the 49er helmets for those uniforms are black.
Oh.
With a gold face mask. And yes, the Arizona Cardinals has been sandblasted, literally.
And the problem with that is?
They play in the desert. Makes sense.
I mean, they might. I think we might fast forward.
I'm going to go ahead and say they play in a dome because that roof hadn't been open in like 11 years.
Does it even open?
That's a fair question. That thing might not work anymore. I don't know.
I'll be honest with you. I don't even know if it.
By the way, Rams helmet's also black with one yellow horn on each side.
Ah. Black with a yellow horn. Love that.
I don't know, guys.
I don't know why you're so down on it. It's not that bad.
It's not that great.
It's not that great, but it's not that bad.
Okay.
I'm not rushing to buy a jersey, for the record. Just let the record be clear. I am not going out and buying one of these. I'm just suggesting it's not the worst thing I've ever seen.
Okay. All right.
Same page or no?
No. You got to switch it up every now and then, I guess. This is just I don't see our children's children 50-some, 60-some years from now being like, "Oh, let's bust out the Buffalo Icy Blues."
Yeah, we're on the same page there. I'm not sure that that's one that would be at the top of my list. Like,
Let's bring back those Soundwave jerseys.
Like, the worst thing I've ever seen is the MLB's jerseys when all of a sudden the Red Sox, the City Connect jerseys, when all of a sudden the Red Sox are wearing yellow and blue. I'm like, I don't even know who they are.
My son loves the Padres City Connect, though. It's like the Miami Vice ones. He just thinks they're cool. Yeah. I don't know. But
that's fine. And maybe they're built to appeal to a 5-year-old. I'm fine with that.
I think that's what these are.
Yeah, that's perfectly
fine. The NFL knows they got us. They got to make sure they keep getting the youngins. And when they do that, they know more money is going to come in. So, Jackson Arnold, you heard my comments to Coach Sanderson a little bit earlier, G-Mac. I want to get your thoughts on that, your opinion on that. Where can Hugh Freeze and his staff find a way to still be successful, very successful, by not putting 85% of the offense on his arm? I don't know if that makes sense to a lot of people. I think I know where I'm going. I think you understand where I'm going, in that run the football first, allow him to run the football a little bit, give him the high percentage throws. Maybe don't even ask him to make as many decisions all the time. Give him some call it and run it. And those can be throws, by the way. When I say call it and run it, I don't mean call it and hand it off. I just mean we are deliberately running this play. Take some of the thought out of it, and then therefore that big chunk of the game plan, of the decision making inside of the game, in between the white lines, is not on him. Can that be done by this Auburn offensive staff?
You know, that's where I'm struggling a little bit. Is I think it can be, but I also think that if here's the best part about this situation for Auburn, is that Baylor's secondary is suspect, right? So do you want to potentially, if you're Dave Aranda, do you want to potentially leave your suspect secondary in a compromising position, or would you rather go out and sell out against the run come hell or high water? And I don't know if I know the appropriate answer. I don't know if I know the right answer. I don't know what the circumstances are in your eyes, but the fact that their secondary is a bit of a problem against an elite receiver corps, that should be really beneficial for Auburn. Do you not agree?
Yes.
That's my biggest fear, is if that secondary all of a sudden plays really well in the game as the game goes along, maybe they start to dedicate a little more to the box. But there's just no way Dave Aranda is going to let Auburn come out and start running the ball down their throat. He's just not wired that way. I don't see that as a realistic possibility.
Yeah, I would be with you there. And that's the other part of this. You and I mentioned it earlier in the week on Monday. We knew it was game week, and just there are some people, Greg, that think you and I are in agreement. And Dave said it the other day. We played the clip on the show. I can't let them run the ball. Like, he complimented the backs. He was very complimentary of the offensive line, the bump techniques and the double teams where they climb to the backers, talking about what that can do, how problematic it can be. It sounds like he is in line with us, in that stack the box, make sure they don't run the football, we'll let the rest of it play out. But I'm just telling you, there is another thought process out there that believes he's not going to do that. That believes he wants maybe this game to go a little bit of a different way, that he'll play it a different way. So does he load it up? Does he mix and match up front? Does he slant? Does he stunt? Does he run backers through? Does he give you wicked looks the entire game? Or does he sit back and say, you can have all the slants and all the outs and all the hitches you want. Take them all day long. Because one, I don't think your offensive staff can stay patient. Two, I don't think your quarterback can be consistent enough to complete them on us. And that to me might be the most intriguing question that will be answered to this game, is which of those avenues does he take more often? And some of that may be, hey, if your D-line's winning one-on-ones, you don't have to load it up. If you're getting in the backfield, you're penetrating, cool. We were going to do that, but now we see after a couple series, we don't have to do that anymore. So good luck, because we're going to play both. We don't think you can beat us that way for sure.
Yeah. And I think that's in a perfect world, you would force them to play both, right? I mean, I think ideally that's what it looks like for them. But if you can't, for whatever reason, stop the run without an extra hat in the box, and all of a sudden you got to put an extra hat in the box, and all of a sudden now guys are on an island against quality personnel. Now you're in a little bit of the kind of pick your poison mode. So yeah, I think that's an appropriate way of starting the game. I just don't know if that's the way the game's going to finish. If you're catching my drift.
Yeah, 100%. No, I would agree with you. Okay, so that's maybe a little bit of the direction that game will go, that game will take. And we mentioned college football at 4:30 today. That lifts anybody's spirit. But if you're looking for a lift around your garage, GMAC, ProLift can help you out there.
Yeah, ProLift, new sponsor. Really happy to have them on board. They've been great so far. And there's probably times when you're opening up your garage door and you're not even thinking about whether or not it needs maintenance. But if it's making noises, if there's slow response time, if there's some vibrations or shaking, if it's abnormally loud, you need to call for a maintenance service. And that's what I love about ProLift garage doors. They're locally owned and operated. They're a community-based company. They have 200 plus 5-star Google reviews. Mike has done a great job of creating a company that is reliable and trustworthy, because you don't often think about your garage door until it's broken. So you can do some preventative maintenance to make sure it is running smoothly. Because the last thing you want is to wake up at 5 in the morning and your garage door doesn't open. That's happened to me in the past. Luckily, I have ProLift garage doors. They can work on any brand, so that's helpful. And they can upgrade the appearance of your home with a brand new garage door as well. Give them a shout today by going online to their website, proliftdoors.com. That's proliftdoors.com. ProLift garage doors, lifting your expectations.
All right, Mike Lutzenkirchen joins us next right here on Mac and Cube in the morning. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you tuning in. 9:44, Thursday, August 28th, right here on WJOX. Listen online, joxfm.com. Watch live on YouTube each and every day as well, and tell your home smart speaker to enable the Jox skill. Mike Lutzenkirchen of the Lutzy 43 Foundation going to join us now on the Higginbotham Hotline. Busy weekend, Mike. A lot of people going to be moving around. A lot of people going to be in their vehicles, and just wanted to have you back on to let the people understand how they can be aware and protect themselves and protect others while driving this weekend.
Yeah, Cole and Greg, great to be on. I really appreciate the opportunity to share with your followers. You know, I spent Monday and Tuesday in Tuscaloosa at a conference on roadway safety. Going to be a great weekend of college football, all these great games you guys have been talking about. But I just want to remind every audience, we start at a state level and national recording roadway fatalities at 6 p.m. Friday night of Labor Day weekend. They concluded at midnight on Monday. And unfortunately, we see a spike over this 3-day period than you would the normal 3-day period on any other weekend. So, you know, Phillips Life, not for naught, we've created 43 key seconds so that the roadway communities in the Southeast and in Alabama can just concentrate on driving behaviors to be safer and ensure we're all going to be getting home over this beautiful Labor Day weekend.
Mike, what have you kind of learned with all the things that you guys have done with the Lutzy 43 Foundation? What have you learned about holiday weekends in general, about just maybe being a little less safe than you would be normally?
Yeah, I think, Greg, that's a great question. You know, I'm calling you guys or talking to you guys from Toccoa, Georgia, about as far north of Georgia as you can, because we're delivering our 30th 5-hour safe driving summit through a partnership with the Georgia Department of Transportation. I'm so proud to share with your audience. We did our first one in Alabama with Alabama DOT. We've got more that are scheduled coming up. But we just let our guard down, right? Up here, I'm near a waterway. North of Birmingham, you got, lakes. People are getting on water. Parents think kids are going to drink. They think they should be with them if they're going to drink. They think being on a boat is safer, so waterway safety. But we just let our guards down. This great college football that we're all talking about. Everybody's going to have a few cold ones and so forth and think they're okay to drive. So, what we created with 43 key seconds to say before you drive your vehicle, take 43 seconds, make sure you got a clear head, clear hands, clear eyes, and most importantly, click your seatbelt. And real quick, what does a clear head mean? You're going to go through and ask yourself, am I drug impaired, alcohol impaired? Am I fatigued? Am I emotionally impaired? Or am I technology impaired? And we all have to have just common sense and courtesy of others. You're not ready to drive, so don't drive. If we just adhere to that, we're all going to be a lot safer.
Feels extremely simple. It feels extremely easy, Mike, and it's difficult for all of us to lose sight of that sometimes. And give our listeners maybe a tip or two that they can remember this weekend to try to keep those things in mind, to try to have that clear mind, clear head, try to make sure that they are ready to get behind the wheel.
Well, you guys are so focused on college football, and I mean, I'm narrow-minded that way also, these great games. Go have fun. Watch these games. Root for your team. But I will tell you this, whether you say Roll Tide, War Eagle, Go Dogs, whatever it may be, there is no discrimination when you make a poor choice behind the wheel. You can lose your life. So if you're not prepared to drive because you've had too much to drink, don't drive. Get somebody that's ready to drive or stay. Uber and all these ride shares are so prevalent now. Jump on that. Will that cost you a little bit of money? Sure it will. But you know what? You're not going to be attending a funeral. You're not going to be going to a hospital. It's just the common sense things that we all forget. But most important, let's stand up for one another. If we've got somebody that's been overserved, which can't, guys, I laugh at that. How can somebody overserve you? You make the choice of what you consume. But if we get in that situation as people, you might get 4-letter worded by your friends, but that's okay. It's better to be 4-letter worded and protect each other than to have the consequences of a injury or a fatality. So let's just look out for one another and use Philip's life and story and the mistakes that we made that weekend and cost him in his friend of life and learn about what our 43 key seconds is. And we're going to continue to reduce roadway fatalities.
They're all good reminders, Mike. It's things that we need to hear on a more regular basis. How can folks help the foundation? How can folks help you guys continue to do what you're doing?
Yeah, Cole, thank you. We're at www.lutzie, that's Lutzy 43, the number 43.org. If you've got a high school or you're an administrator, please check out our website about what are these 5-hour safe driving summits. Go to our website, learn about what is 43 key seconds. I'm not going to use this platform to say, hey, write us a check, make a donation. We're a nonprofit. Everybody knows what a nonprofit is. We'll take that. But learn about what 43 key seconds is, because we really, truly believe it's contributing to the reduction in roadway deaths. In Georgia, guys, to close with you, year to date, as of this morning, we are down 170 fatalities on our roads versus the same year date. That's 18% improvement, but 170 people lives are saved and still driving. Unfortunately, Labor Day starts this whole fall. We'll hit Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's where we see a spike again, but we're trending in the right direction both in Georgia and Alabama, and it's because we're all becoming more confident in making better driving behaviors.
Mike, thanks for hopping on with us today. Thanks for the reminders. Obviously, wish you and your family the best and look forward to catching up soon.
Likewise, guys. Enjoy this great roller coaster of the fall of football, and keep doing what you're doing because we love it.
Thank you. Mike Lutz and Kirkin of the Lutzy 43 Foundation joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline at Lutzy 43. You can find them on Twitter as well. Always great stuff. Always great reminders that we need for this upcoming weekend. And speaking of travel, football season here means a lot of travel for me, a lot of nights in different hotel rooms. That's when I miss my Royal Bedding mattress. You guys know that I've had sleeping issues in the past, whether it be back, different things, couldn't get comfortable. Would wake up during the night. All that changed when we bought my Royal Bedding mattress. You just don't know how much difference a Royal Bedding handcrafted mattress can make. I love the mattress so much. I've gone back twice. My son, my dad, both sleep on Royal Bedding mattresses. One of the reasons I look forward to getting back home every weekend. For more than 30 years, Royal Bedding has helped people across Alabama and beyond sleep so much better. Royal Bedding, Highway 31, next to the big U-Haul store. Visit and see why 3 generations of my family are on Royal Bedding mattresses. They make them, they sell them and pell them. Royal Bedding mattresses. Check them out. Tell them you heard of them right here on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. All right, G-Mac, some final thoughts on tonight. Boise at USF. Let's say this afternoon, that is. What's the main factor you look at here of how maybe potentially USF can actually pull off this upset?
Well, if you look at them statistically last year, what's been a little bit disturbing in kind of diving into this possible matchup is just how bad South Florida was defensively last year. That's a huge problem. And I know that we can kind of look back and think back to how disruptive South Florida was a couple years ago against the Tide. But all in all, last year, they gave up 279 yards passing a game. That was 130th in college football. They gave up 177 rushing yards a game. That was 86th in college football. I just think that defensively they're going to have to be so much better in this game against a Boise State group that, while I think they're good, not great, I still think they can score. And I still think they have good personnel. Now, if you look last year, about 225 yards a game through the air for Boise. That was 78th, so they're not really a pass-happy attack, but maybe there'll be a little more of that this season. So if South Florida's defense doesn't show up, then it becomes a track meet. I think that's probably the best way for South Florida to potentially win the game because I think they can run it. I think they can throw it. I just don't know if they can defend it. And that would be what would kind of keep me up at night right now if I were goalish.
Yeah, I think it's on that D-line. If that South Florida D-line can be disruptive, if they can spike the stretch play, force it to bounce, force it to cut back a little bit early, sort of change the tracks, change the angles of those running backs, don't allow them to get comfortable and get that thing going, I think that puts them way ahead of the curve and potentially allows them to pull the upset in this game tonight. Nebraska-Cincy, what does it come down to for you for maybe Cincinnati actually getting it done, pulling off that? By the way, Boise 5.5-point favorite in that one. Are you on the Bulls there? Do you like that side of it?
I'm on the Bulls, but I also like the over. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game because Golish is going to want to make this exciting from a recruiting standpoint.
Yep.
I think they'll score. If you actually look last year at the yards given up by Boise's defense through the air, they weren't great. And pass defense last year, they're great at rushing the quarterback, not great in pass defense overall. So I think that is an area where they might be able to create some opportunities downfield. I think it has a chance to be a bit of a track meet.
By the way, 89 and sunny in Tampa today. Just saying.
Good.
Just saying. And
Good.
You're starting out at 4:30, which means you're out there warming up at what? 3?
Yeah, thereabouts.
Okay. That's I have a feeling that humidity going to be a little bit different than it's been out in Idaho. Just a little,
especially if a little late afternoon storm rolls through, it has a tendency to do.
Yeah. Just a little bit different.
They're looking out to only get 89, honestly, this time of year.
Very, very lucky. I mean, that is mild for down there, but that humidity is going to be it's going to be up there. Okay, so you got that one. Cincinnati, how can they get it done? What do you look at from this game and say, I think the Bearcats realistically can go pull this upset?
Run the rock. I mean, that's the key. If you look last year at what Nebraska had in the front, like they are without a couple of really good defensive linemen. Now they brought in some high-profile transfers that might be great, that might not be great. We'll see. I have no idea. But continuity, I think, is something that you need to be concerned about. I also think Cincinnati needs to be great on third down. Nebraska last year on third down was not good. They were among the worst defensively in college football on third down. The problem is, if you look at Cincinnati, they also were not good offensively on third down. So I think they need to do a good job offensively, running the football, staying out of third and longs, staying on schedule, and I think they need to allow Dante Corleone to go nuts. Because, by the way, Elijah Pritchett, remember him? He's not starting at right tackle. He's not starting at tackle at Nebraska. He's right now listed as third on the depth chart. So that'll be curious to watch. I think this offensive line might be kind of average. So if it is, a difference-making defensive tackle could take over the game.
That could be one that is very intriguing today/tonight. Nebraska-Cincy go at 8 on ESPN. Nebraska 6.5-point favorite in that one. You also have Miami of Ohio, Wisconsin, Big Ten Network at 8. Wisconsin, Greg, 17.5 points?
That's a lot.
Feels like a lot to me, too.
I'd probably lay them. They're going to want to look good in week 1.
I would probably agree with you there. All right, Stephen F. Austin's at Houston. Stony Brook is at San Diego State. UT Martin's at Oak State. Elon's at Duke. Central Arkansas at Mizzou. Wyoming is at Akron. St. Francis is at ULM. Delaware State at Delaware. What's our trinket we play for in that game?
Oh, yeah. I think the bronzed hen.
Okay. Even though Delaware State are the Hornets, I don't feel like they don't need the hen. All right, we're back tomorrow.